Thank you. Thank you. Can the colleagues who are still standing outside please come in so that we can resume with this panel? Thank you, guys. Here on stage, we have Tshepo 1 Million. They're going to give us information on how to access Tshepo 1 Million and how does it assist entrepreneurs with access to markets. And then we're gonna be talking to CEDA as well, giving us opportunities in terms of how do we commercialize our concepts. And then we also later on gonna be speaking to Vodacom as well. Thank you. Over to you, Tshepo 1 Million.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bongani Mabusa from Office of the Premier. I'm the director for a program called Tshepo 1 Million. So I trust I'm talking to SMMEs right now. Yeah? Or even wannabe SMMEs, right? Which is good. So you would know that the program is designed for young people, and the intention of the program was to take down barriers of entry for young people into the economy. And we are focusing on anybody who's the age of 18, which is a legal age in this country to work, all the way up to 34. But in your space, it would talk to anybody even above 34, because as an entrepreneur, what I would talk to you about is how do you give access into your space. Because as an entrepreneur, you would grow and you would want to have the young people be employed through you. So the program has 4 pillars, which is based on, the first pillar is called the demand-led learning. The second pillar is called the transitional placement. The third pillar, it's called the the decent jobs. And the fourth pillar being the SMMEs and new economy, which is what we are about to talk about. Now, what we spend time on as a program is we try and source young people, bring them to these opportunities. In this case of entrepreneurs, is we then go out and look for young entrepreneurs and then try and find opportunities in the market for them. So we came up with what it is called the Kasi Unlimited platform. The Kasi Unlimited platform, we are now, it's safe to say, program director, it will be now up and live from 1st of July, because it is a place where we then offer market access as a service. What does that mean? It means we will spend time to go and find the private sector, bring them closer in the platform, ask them to open up opportunities, go and get these SMMEs around the 5 regions of Gauteng, bring them on board on the platform, and then say, if you are, as a business, looking to sell your services in the townships, these are the township SMMEs that are out there in the line or in the industry, if not the sector that you are in. We will therefore then say to the township enterprises, if you're looking to sell your services to the private sector, this is what you would need to do. But part of what we want to do and what we're doing, there are people who run businesses in a form of being very casual about it. Casual being they are not formalized, they don't have CIPC, they do not have banking details or banks. Abanye basebenzisa ama personal banks to run a business. So what we've done as a program is in the last year, and we will be doing the phase 2 in the months to come, we did an audit in the 9 most populated townships in this province to try and figure out what type of businesses are there in the townships. So if you walk into the Tshepo 1 Million stand at Hall 6, you realize as you walk in, there are those coordinated. Izenk. Ningizwa kahle? Hayi ngibambile. So you get there, you find somebody ubhalile angithi lapha yana ukuthi no mawufuna ukushisela is 220 wara. So they do welding. But if you were to take that person and you say to them, can you do this formally now with formal business? They might not be, even though they have the skill. So there might be a gap. So what the program then does is then it looks at the gap that the person might have in terms of skill. We then try and bring you closer to where you're supposed to be. But what is key is that your business will not thrive if you don't have the demand. So then the program goes out and says, in the private sector, let's take an example of township panel beaters. You know, for a township panel beater, for them to thrive, they need to have more cars. All right? So we try and say to these opas and uncles that abalungisa imoto, but since alukisa di Mazda 323, look, we need to upgrade, right? But can you do drivable repairs? And if you can do drivable repairs, we look at what would you need to do drivable repairs of your latest models. It means a motor, when it comes through to you, it can spend a day, but it can be fixed. But we then have to find out whether you have the right tools and the skills. But in that business, you're going to find that Uncle X works with his son or some niece or somebody there, who can therefore then be given the skill. Because maybe the uncle might not go through the process of a full training, because but he has an experience. Are we together so far? So then we then train this young person, but we would have then spoken to the private sector. We're currently in conversations with the likes of Holland and the Abosaic and them to then say, how do we partner in unlocking this at the township level? Right? So that we can then say, how best do we bring this demand of people who want to do your bampale ekobegile somewhere? And we will then say, if you can fix this, we'll bring the car. So the demand we bring to the table. Now, the platform is going to make us work together easily and nicely. So we will therefore then continue to do the audit across all the other townships to figure out what's there, right? So that Maskuluma now, we talk to you because you have a CIPC, but even if you don't have, we are able to then say to CEDA, who's our partner sitting next to me, who will talk to you later, can we do business development support and what are those that are needed? So the program in itself has partnerships with other spheres of government to figure out what is it that we can do. I saw CIPC here, but what you also saw, you might have seen a bus in Lago, which is Gauteng Enterprise Propeller Agency under the Department of Economic Development. You could also go there and do AMA registration and formalize your thing. You can go into our stall at Tshepo 1 Million. We have NYDA who's doing talks in terms of be your own boss there. But our role as the province is to then do the matchmaking. Find the market, find those that can service the market, but be at a level where the market needs you to be, right? But we also are saying to the market, drop some of the things that are a barrier. Because you see, our business are not gaining access because there's barriers of entry. And the barriers of entry is capital. The barriers of entry is you are not a well-polished type of business because hauna a facility, right? So we then say, if we were to find a facility, would you still be able to do business with those people? But we're also trying to push the idea of localization. So we don't want you to be exposed to a business, but we want you to go and do business with something in Kangala. It doesn't work, does it? Right? And same applies. They say I've got 2 minutes. You see, you don't give me a mark. There's a problem. I get passionate about this. So that's what we then give as an access to enterprises. So we start you from entry level where you register your company all the way up to are you ready to do business. But guess what? We don't walk alone. We walk with the business. We walk with the likes of CEDA and them. I have not mentioned, yes, we are in partnership with Yes Initiative. So in other words, the private sector companies that are there, all we are having as a conversation with everybody is unlock your value chain. There has to be participation of township-based companies. But we must do business in the township. Underline that. Business in the township. That's important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mabuse from Tshepo 1 Million. Let's move on now to Sid.
So I'm going to stand. Good afternoon. My name is Colin, and I am with CEDA. CEDA is the Small Enterprise Development Agency. It's an agency of the Department of Small Business Development. Now, and I think most of you would know what CEDA does and where CEDA started. CEDA started about 14 years ago, so in 2004. And CEDA's mandate is really to look at business development within the country. Before I go into our products and services, I would like to just share with you, some statistics of what's really happening within the SMME space within the country. The key challenge with the SMME sector in South Africa is really the, unavailability of reliable data, periodic data, meaning that although we gathering data as an agency, is that we don't really know as a country, what's or where all our businesses are at, who's doing business, what kind of assistance would they need from not only government, also the private sector, etc. Then, secondly, this limits the ability of government to conduct sector analysis and design policy interventions from existing sources. There's an indicative upward trend in the number of SMMEs since 2000. Now, what that means is that currently we're sitting with just over 5.6 million small businesses within the country. When the DTI did their first review, which was in 2007, there was about 2.4 million small businesses in the country. And in 2010, it was recorded that there's about 5.6 million small businesses in the country. Now, small businesses within South Africa contributes 35% of our gross domestic product, or our GDP, towards the economy. And there is targets for future contribution, obviously, where we're looking at small businesses contributing up to 60% of our gross domestic product within the country. That means that as a country, we also know that, it's not your big businesses that's going to create employment, but it is actually going to happen within small businesses within the country. And that is why it is so important that not only government, but, all spheres of government as well as the private sector actually invest within small businesses within this country. Then our private sector employment estimates range from 56% to 61%, meaning that small businesses that's in the private sector, those guys are really going to be the guys that's going to, create businesses within or jobs within the economy. Then just speaking on exporting, because exporting is one of our key interventions within our organization, is that contribution is markedly low for small businesses within the country. And we're looking at an estimated 2% only of SMMEs exporting out of the country. Then we're saying, you're looking at other countries because we want to benchmark and see what other countries do in terms of exporting. At 2.9%, South Africa established business activity rate, that is our established business owners rate as a percentage of our overall economically active population, is lower when you compare to 15.4% in Brazil. You look at 8.5% in Chile, 28% in Thailand, 11% in China, and 6% in Malaysia. And that's according to the 2013 Global Entrepreneurship Monitor report. Now, not far from home, you look at countries such as Kenya, and you're looking at Rwanda, you're looking at, all of those countries on the African continent, and they're doing much better in terms of exports than South Africa at the moment. Then we need to ask ourselves the question, what are we doing to make sure that we get SMMEs ready to export I'm saying that we open to the African continent before we even look at other countries. Why don't we get our SMMEs ready to then, export onto the continent? Because if you look at a country such as Nigeria, where there's just over 300 million people, imagine the type of exporting you can do to such a country. Ghana and other countries as well, where we've got good relations as countries with these countries, So it is then upon ourselves as well as SMMEs. SMMEs must really have the drive to look at, am I ready to export to other countries? Then I would also like to then just look at, if you look at our makeup of our SMMEs within the country, we've got 64% survivalist enterprises, and they run by women within this country. Now, I always like to share this, that the Grameen Bank in Sri Lanka is a bank that was started to really look at SMME development. They ended up only funding women because women paid back the money that they borrowed, and our male counterparts didn't really do that. So it shows, and I also think why that happened was because that women were accountable to each other within the villages, because they knew if you got the money and now you are able to put, better food on the table for your kids, you can send them to school, then the lady next to you could do the same. And so you are growing the village, you're giving your kids better education, etc. And then you also grow the economy of the country like that. And that is why Grameen Bank then now decided that they're only lending to women, because women pay back. Then we've got 1.3% of our survivalist enterprises. We've got 24.6% micro enterprises, and we've got 76.3% small businesses. Now, what that means to you is that the 76.3% small businesses that I'm speaking about is really looking at, those are businesses that's registered with CIPC, or the Commission of Intellectual Properties and Companies. Those are businesses that's registered as a company. You cannot really register as a CC anymore, but some still have close corporations that they've registered before. And those are businesses that we know of that would do their returns to the CIPC, etc. And that's where we want every business person in this room to be at, where you are able to go and you register with CIPC so that there is some form of information on the business that you are running. Now, having said all of that, I want to go into what we do as an organization, as CEDA. CEDA's got a variety of interventions that we do for our small businesses. I'm going to start with the very low ones for people that, just want to put food on the table. And that's your informal businesses. It's people that's survivalists, and it's mostly those people that sit, either on the street corner selling their sweets and their chips and those kind of things. And we assist those guys too. So what we do is we've got a program that is called IMEDP. It's the Informal Micro Economic Development Program. That program was introduced about 3 years ago within the Department of Small Business Development, but now currently in this financial year, it moved over to CEDA, and we are now responsible for implementing that program. Previously, the program would give not hard cash money to you, but we would go and we would actually buy things that you would need in your business. Things such as if you are making scones at home and you want a bigger stove, an industrial stove, then we would actually go out and we would buy that for you. If you need chafing dishes because you are a catering company, we would go and buy that. So it's a process that was open. Okay, so I'm going to go quickly through it, but I thought it was necessary to say you could potentially look at IMEDP. Then we also have what we call BESD, which is the Basic Entrepreneurial Skills Development, and that is focusing on our township businesses, because we understand that township businesses is actually the businesses of the future. That is where we would want to invest. That is where we want to see a lot of businesses coming up, because we want to make sure that people within the township benefits from those businesses. Then we've got, I spoke on export already, we've got an entire unit dealing with export. We're taking 20 young entrepreneurs, and those are people that's fashion designers. We're taking to Italy now in June, July, for the Torino Fashion Week, all paid for by government. because we also understand that that is important. We need to make sure that we give, opportunities to young people. Then there's other, such as, we do business plans as CEDA. We would go out, we would, service the business in terms of just being there for advising the business in terms of where your business are at, etc. Then we also do other interventions, such as if you need marketing material, if you need a website. We've recently signed an agreement with Facebook. We've got an agreement with Google. So these days, we're not only looking at your, older type of marketing material. We really want you to compete with people that, is out there. And so that people in other countries also know about your businesses. I think what we can do, I'll stick around. We can speak afterwards. Let's see, where you are at, what kind of service you need from CEDA, and we can see how we can assist you. I thank you.
Thank you, Colin. I know the feeling. Sometimes you just you just become so passionate about it. Thank you. I'm going to hand over to our colleagues from Voda.
Afternoon, how are you? Okay, I'm Edward, representing Business Doctors. We're in partnership with Vodacom. Vodacom, in terms of this access to market, they've got a platform where they encourage people who want to do business with them to do a particular assessment, which is called a business evaluation on their platform, to see if you are ready to do business with them. So in that platform, they determine whether you are ready or not. And if you're not, then we come into play. We as business doctors, we do business development. We had worked with the CEDA, National Giselles, Neotel, T-Systems, just some big corporates that we're working with. What we actually do, we're using 8 drivers to upscale your business, take your business to the next level, make your business sustainable, ensure that you've got recurring revenue. That's basically what we do. Of the 8 drivers, we start from the financial performance. Financial performance meaning you should be able to know your business, to say every month, in terms of your budgeting, you know how much you're aiming for in terms of your sales, your top line and your bottom line, your profits, how much you want to achieve by the end of the month. We take you through that process, we coach you, we make you understand why you have to do what you're doing in terms of financial performance. And then in terms of your growth, which is the item number 2, what we usually do, we look at how are you going to grow your business, make your business sustainable, make your business profitable. We use a variety of ways by upscaling your business. For example, looking at the opportunities that are available for you to be on the next level in terms of either accessing better market or in terms of moving closer to market, your pricing and all those kind of things. In terms of recurring revenue, we're dealing with issues of having contracts. How do you negotiate a contract to an extent that you know that for the next 6 months, you know you'll be getting money from a particular supplier, or for the next 2 years, 3 years, and so forth. That, if you remember, some of the people previously were coming, talking about the financing part. Those are some of the things that the bankers or financiers look at to say, is this business sustainable? Is this business, does it have a credibility? Is it going to last long enough to be able to continue to pay me the installments that they owe me? So they look at those kind of things. So if we try and help you with those, even when you go to a financier or a banker, you'll be able to recognize that you are a sustainable business, a profitable business. I mentioned financial performance, recurring revenue, growth. I've already mentioned. What else, Chris? I'm with my colleague here. Explain the other 4. Hold on. Technology. You know, we press for time here, so we have to be brief, but try and touch on everything that is pertinent to you guys. Cash flow. That's another important element. We'll find out most of the people, they're running their businesses, and then all of a sudden they're running out of cash. There are ways that we can help you to probably manage your cash flows. either through managing the people who are paying you or through the people that you are paying, meaning your supplier and your customers, vis-a-vis, even your bank account management. The best way is to make sure that you are always on top of things. And these things are only possible if you are able to understand your financial management part. That's why every time when you start with a business development, we look at your financial performance first to try and ascertain your vision, because some of you guys, when you start doing your business, you start your business with that vision to say, I want to make $1 million. But how do you get to that $1 million? In business, there's something called budget. If you've got a budget, that's your plan. And if you've got your accounting system, the accounting system will be able to report to you to say, how far are you to that $1 million? How far are you in spending to get that $1 million? Those are the things that we try to help you through to manage as you move along. I'll allow my partner to continue with the last 4 items.
So I want to ask you, what's the difference between a coach and a consultant? So a coach is someone that helps you with your thinking and how you think about things and gives you a bunch of skills to help you get to the place where you need to go. A consultant gets their hands dirty in your business, and that's the difference. We are consultants. We actually help you in your business. So one of the other factors that we want to talk about is risk. If you have one customer right now that's contributing more than 15% to your revenue, you are at massive risk, because if I take that customer away, you lose 15% of your revenue and the chance of you becoming fundable, etc., etc. So access to market, if you've only got one customer that's, or 2 or 3, that's 15%, you're at risk, okay? The next thing that is your market share or your monopoly or your marketing message. So we saw earlier on, there were a couple of builders here. Where are those builders? Put up your hands. In construction. There were a couple of you. So what makes you so different to that guy, and to every other guy that just stands up and says, well, I'm a builder? That does not exactly rock my world or anybody else's world, to be honest. So if you don't have a uniqueness in the market, then you might as well just look like everybody else. So you as a company better have a uniqueness. When you find that uniqueness, you've got to tie it to the customer that wants that service, and then you've got to market it. How do we market? Well, there's a thing called a cell phone, called Facebook, called LinkedIn, and both of those mechanisms are extremely cheap. All right? So you better find your uniqueness and hit that uniqueness linked to a customer, not to everybody. No, I'm a builder. I'll just build anything. What do you build exactly, sir? What exactly, who do you targeting with your building? Is it me? Is it the guy next door? Is it the guy in the township? Is it the guy in my suburb? Who exactly is your target market? All right? That is the monopoly. We look at customer service. One of the things that in this country we get terribly wrong. We all think we're good at customer service until we ask our customer, what is it that your customer wants from you? How do you deliver it? And how do you measure that you have customer service and that you're delivering on it? Okay? And then the last thing that we look at is how dependent is the business on you as an owner and your employees? How many of you are the only person in your business? Put up your hand. So if I take you out of the business, what happens to the business, guys? It's done. So I want to just give something very practical about access to market. Who's like in really far out areas, or you like in the middle of nowhere? Okay? I want to introduce you to a friend of mine called a phone. On this phone is the internet, is LinkedIn, is Facebook, and there's a whole bunch of stuff on this thing called a phone. Have you ever actually picked up your phone and dialed a number and said, hi, I am this lady from the catering company, and I'd like to come to see and speak to you about my catering company and what I do and how I can benefit you? You see, I am responsible for my own marketing, my own sales, and everything within my company. Yes, these gentlemen are going to help me, and I'm going to help you. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own business. Get off doing other things and being reliant on them and start being reliant on yourself and your own skills and what the Lord has given you, which is a phone. Start Googling or searching or whatever. 2 minutes. I've got 2 minutes. But I can't emphasize this enough, guys, that you cannot be reliant on other people to give you access to market. Go and kick the door down. But what does the door look like? Who is your customer? Do you know who your customer is? And it can't be a shotgun, well, I just hope it's anybody. No, it's that guy. Really go and think about who my customer is and market to that customer. And you can use Facebook and LinkedIn to do that at a very low cost. And then we measure those 8 things as business doctors. We come into your business and we help you to achieve your goal. And one of those goals will be access to market. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chris. We're going to take questions from 2 from this side and 2 from this side, but we already have a question from the previous discussion. So I'm going to start this side, from this side. Yes, yes, sir, you. And then who else? Who's got their hand up in the side? Is it only one person? Please raise your hand so that I can see. Oh, there's one hand there, and you say.
Hi everyone, my name is Huiti Mangsisini, and I have a question for Colin from CEDA. Colin, I have a bit of a concern maybe. I have a company and it's been registered since 2015. Now, CEDA is a business development. I approached CEDA and I went through the application. Now, my question to you is that how do you monitor the application of SMEs? And how do you facilitate that process? Because it's 2018 now and I haven't received any response, no matter how much I follow up with CEDA. So I would like you maybe just to clarify as to maybe there's a 5-year period for an SME to wait until maybe you get assistance, or maybe before you get an assistance, maybe there's a criteria that one has to hit. And if you don't hit that criteria, then is there a way of notifying the applicant as to whether your application is So, yeah.
Thank you for your question. Let's move to the guy over there. Can we move the mic to that gentleman? Thank you. Make it brief, sir, please. Thank you.
Age papa, ke nna Lawrence ke tswa ko extension 12 ko Kagiso. Potso ya ka e ko ntato wa CEDA. Registerile company ya rona ka 2016. E be le tla ko extension 12 le tlo re bontsha gore CEDA e ka re thusa ka eng. Then from there, since from 2016 e be le re founela this year ka January gore re tle ko Joburg ko di office tsa rona re tle le di pampirinyana tsa rona tsotlhe di banking details le di whatsoever. Then e be re tla ko since then e be le didimetse ga la zang le tlhale le boela ko rona. So ga re itse gore le tlo tsa sebaka se se kanang gore le boele ko rona. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we're going to take to this side. Ma'am, over here. I'm going to start with you.
All right. My name is Lerato Khaswane from the ATM restaurant. And my first question will go to business doctors. This is quite a very interesting initiative and indeed is of high value to some of us. Because of as SMMEs, you find that you are your own marketing director, your own CEO, your own, like you are everything basically. So now with regards to financial performances, you try your level best to empower yourself in terms of having to attain all this knowledge when it comes to bookkeeping whatsoever, because of it's so expensive to pay, or maybe you can't even afford to pay bookkeepers at the moment. Now you have all these figures, they are recorded whatsoever, but you don't really have that picture of what are these numbers actually saying to me. The numbers I do have, I understand how many, what's the target number for me to reach on a daily basis in order for me to be able to pay my overheads. However, like you don't really understand what you are going or where you are going. And then for Mr. Collins, okay, I'll see you after with regards to marketing material. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The guy with the beanie. Yes.
Hi, my name is Biko Mafatle from Meadowlands, Casper's Ice Cubes and Blocks. I just want to post a question to Tshepo 1 Million program. I think what you're doing, guys, is very good, especially for us, the small business. So basically, he mentioned that for a business to thrive in Ekasi, we must have a demand, and they will supply us with the barriers of entry, and then the business must be well polished. My concern is that we're struggling in the Kasi, especially with the kind of business we currently in. For an example, in my type of business, I'm supplying the ice cubes, and I'm also supplying the ice blocks, and I'm also in the business of supplying the mobile toilets and the mobile fridges and the mobile homers. So the thing is that most of the companies, the dominant companies from outside of Soweto, they are the ones who are doing business in Soweto. And then we try by all level means to give the customers the competitive prices. For an example, there was a garage that has been opened from a place. I think it's more than 2 minutes from where I'm currently pushing my business. But I gave the guys everything, the pricing, everything, the brochures, but they prefer to do the business with the people that are outside of the guys. And then that thing is really, really killing us, because, I mean, we can't compete with those guys. And then for us to compete with those guys, I mean, is very, very tough. So I would like Kasi 1 Million project to please help us. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're gonna, Ati, are you still in the room? I think we must go back to her for the question that she posed on the last panel, so that for the benefit of the colleagues who were not around at that time. Could we please give her an opportunity?
Hello, my name is Ati. I'm an actuary by profession, but I have an EduTech startup. So the question that I asked earlier was with regards to markets. So we have this app, and we've launched it, and it's now available on Android as well as Apple, and we've gotten some clients already. So now what we need is obviously access to bigger markets. We already have a few corporate clients like Anglo-American who want the app for schools that they support in the Northern Cape. But now what I needed to find out is, for example, who do we go and speak to when we want assistance in terms of scaling our business and becoming bigger and bigger? Yeah, that was my question.
Thank you very much. I had said I'll take two, and then the one from the previous, and then the other questions that we have, we will try and engage with the gentleman, because we are pressed with time offline. They will still stick around to engage with you. So I'm going to hand them. I'm going to hand to them to give you guys feedback.
Thank you. So I just wanted to understand, which branch were you from? Joburg branch. Okay. And the gentleman over there was also Johannesburg branch. Okay. So I'm gonna explain a process, because it's ultimately a process that it is. So CEDA uses what we call a client journey, meaning that you would come into a branch, you would come and see, let's say you go in and you see the receptionist helps you. The next time when you come and you don't have a business, you would then go and see what we call an information officer. Once you've seen the information officer would then assign a business advisor to you. Now that is where the work starts, because the business advisor would then interact with you in terms of your finances. They will use some of the diagnostic tools that we have in the organization, such as the critical planning exercise, or the CPE, which is our financial tool. They'll use the manufacturing tool, which is the ACO, and other tools that they would also use. That process could take from about a day to about 3-4 months. And then after that, they would then start the intervention. So let's say you've now gone through all of these things. The tools have been done. After the tools were done, now they've seen that actually you need marketing material. Then they would then do the intervention on marketing material. I think that anything that goes beyond 6 months shouldn't happen. Okay. That is completely wrong. And those kind of things you need to bring to my attention. Because obviously then it is that something is not working within the branch. What I will do is I will give you this email address. It's info, GP, info as in information, info, GP, for Gauteng province, at SEDA, which is SEDA, .org.za. Info GP at ceda.org.za. Those emails comes directly to me. So I'm the provincial manager for Gauteng, meaning that the branches within Gauteng reports to me. So that emails come to me. I would then work through those emails and I would then go in and see, you know what was the trend in terms of the assistance that you needed. If it is that someone left the organization and it was actually someone that was assisting you, then normally what we do is we then hand it over to a different business advisor. So it's 3 people that left that was assisting you. Okay? 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 Okay. Can you tell me who the person is? Okay. So what we will do is I will definitely look into that because, I mean, Anderson is still there. The person that most probably assisted you previously is not there. Let's just do this. Please use that email address because, like I'm saying, it comes directly to me. Then I can have oversight of those issues and I can address them. Because I don't want to hear coming to a platform like this that, you know what, SEDA has not assisted me. I think we are a country that's hungry. We want assistance. We want to see our businesses moving forward. And that's why SEDA is there, to make sure that we assist you. So please, after this, speak to me. Some of my colleagues is within the other hall where they have the, the thingy there, the exhibition. So please come and go and speak to them as well because one of the ladies in there is actually the information officer for Johannesburg. So that she can also take it up. But I will then speak to you, make sure that we get Anderson to communicate with you, etc. For the gentleman at the back as well, I think it's most probably, and what I've understood is it's kind of the same story. So what I will do after this, just to make sure that I understand who the business advisor is, let me then interact with you. But if any of you have any of those kind of issues, that is the email address that you need to use so that we can, nip it in the bud and people don't have to experience these kind of things. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. I think the question about Middleland's ice cube and ice blocks, so we can certainly, so as the platform comes to life, we will be able to assist. So I think what you are facing is and I haven't been to your business, but what is currently happening in the townships is that can I be honest and be frank? So we don't support each other. Let's be honest, right? And that's what kills the business in the townships, is that just because somebody came being so you're talking about a garage. You can think about another store that would have been put next to you, right? And people think that simply because this one is better colored, it means it will give better service, right? So from a service provider point of view, one of the things that also kills our business is our own services that we give, or our customer service. It is not up to scratch. You always want to run business like Uzo understand. I don't understand. I don't. It's business. Even if this was my sibling, I'll still say the same thing. It's business. It's not me talking to you as Mtana Sekaya. So I'm saying to you, maybe we can have a conversation out of this, maybe offside. But it is important to note some of these things. They impact negatively as well amongst us, right? Yes, we will be bringing some business in the township, But it does not mean that you think that you should not compete, right? You might be strangled because competition to you is where you get your eyes and the price and the creation, wara, wara, wara. So where you produce your stuff could be a challenge. Maybe the question is, can you produce close to where you are? You with me? And that's the conversation that that we might want to get into if you need any business development support. And I think those are the things that we need to start thinking about. It's where do you produce your stuff that you give, right? Because that's where it cuts costs on your production, and therefore you'll be able to run a business. But I think as a Tshepo, we're prepared to help you. As I said to you, we don't do things alone. Nesida, as you see them here, we bring them on board, right? We bring anybody on board. And I would urge, I'm saying this in front of the program chair. There's a lady that spoke about bookkeeping, right? In whatever you do, forget it, right? Speak to the chair. Part of the program, what Tshepo 1 Million does and will be doing is that how do we assist with such? Because if you have to bring somebody who can assist you with bookkeeping, pure bookkeeping, but that will make business sense and equally be understandable in terms of layman's understanding, it is what will move you from one step to another, right? And I know that Unonzuzo and team play a very, very pivotal role in that space. And she can share with you things that we intend to do in that space. We will be sharing this with businesses in the townships, because that's one of the challenges that I'm a business asekasa now, is that umuntu, so let me make an example. So you buy stock, usebenzisa sleep. At no point, when you want credit, nobody has ever thought that the very same receipt could form basis of your evidence that you do have cash flow or money comes in on a monthly or if not quarterly basis, right? There is a program that talks to that. We can actually now, so through the partnerships we have with the likes of Buloro, who helps run businesses at the back end to give you systems that will help you do that, right? Because then if you take that information to say, Yabana, for the past 3 months I've been making so much, I've been doing so much, you can now start buying stock on credit if needs be, right? But you can also improve your business, the look and feel. Guys, if you don't invest in your own business, I don't have to invest in it myself because you don't believe in it. Angithi ngithenga ngoba ungathi bangena la ngithola ushanyela ngesikhathi sama custom uthi awuyazi. No. Kunesikhathi sokushanyela, kunesikhathi sokuthi ungashanyeli, right? So the business development, only what it does is that in your own space, how do we professionalize what you're doing? Because the world owes you nothing. It does not. Why should I spend $10 to you if next door sokune Pick and Pay Casiology? No, it's true. Let's be honest. Asikhulumeni ivara. Ngizongena ngapha ne? I-rice ebayithengisayo nale papa ebayithengisayo, nothing different to the pap and rice you sell. It's how you present the pap and you sell. So you have this conversation here, not for fun, but you're having a conversation to say, how do I get myself to a point where I'll still attract the customers myself? Abathalala, right? So you need to be saying, this is the business development I need assistance on. The look and feel of my store, how I manage my stock if you run a store, right? And so it goes with other businesses. And the Tshepo 1 Million as a program and the Kasi Unlimited, the intention and the direction is exactly that. It's not easy. It's not for free because it needs your effort, right? The rest we can do. That's what we put down here. You can quote me. That's what we put as a promise, if not as a word, from a program point of view. But Sisi, thank you. Siyabonga.
Let's hand over to business doctors.
ATM, I think that was directed to us in terms of financial performance. Look, I think my panel member here is just touch on some of the things that we do. In actual fact, I was in Northwest sometime this week doing the very same thing. You see, people, they take the thing of the numbers as if it's a big thing. It's things that you know as a business person. The budget is something that you know, it's in your mind, but you're just doing it unaware. But now, if you take it down and record it to say, this month, I know I'm going to pay salaries, it's so much. I know I'm going to pay rent, so much. The only difference about this is that now you are recording it, putting it down. But the other aspect of it is that you don't only put it down and not monitor. How do you monitor that? You monitor that by using accounting systems. There are a variety of accounting systems there. Others, they are on trial. You can go on trial for a month or so. I don't want to mention names, but you can go and check it. They are easy, and for a one-man show, most of them, maybe if there's 2 or 3 in the business for something like that. But they are easy. All you do is you record everything you do through your bank statement. There was a discussion around the issue of having a business account and your personal bank account. Those are some of the things that we teach you to say it is important that the business account remains a business account. Your personal account becomes your personal account. Don't mix the two, because when you use this accounting software, which are easy and understandable, you use them through your business bank account. If you are upload and you see the numbers in your bank statement, you say, oh, I remember, here I went to buy stock, here I was paying rent, and then you just match everything. Once you have done that, once you've got your accounting system, you've got your budget, at the end of the month, you do a comparison to say, I wanted 1 million end of the month, but the accounting system says, no, you made 800. Then you go and look, where did everything go wrong? Was it my expenditure? Was it my sales? I didn't sell more? You know, those kind of things. We teach you in such a manner that you as a business owner, as you walk out of the business or probably leaving your business, going somewhere, you know exactly what are you chasing. You know exactly what you left behind. That's the kind of a mentality we try to develop you into. Remember, my colleague mentioned the issue of a coach and a consultant. Some consultant will just go assess, write a report, if they give it to you or give it to the person who sent them. We don't do that. We do an assessment, we talk to you, we teach you, so that you get to understand and be able to do the things with us going forward. But in the process, we are monitoring to say, why did this not happen? That's how we work. I think in terms of scalability, yeah, I think my colleague will help you with that.
Just very quickly on scalability for that lady over there. There's a whole bunch of things that are linked to becoming scalable. So it's a very long conversation, and I'm going to have very limited time. So we'd love to have some time with you afterwards, because there's a whole bunch of things that you need to have right with inside the organization before we make you scalable. Whether it's staff, systems, accounts, whether it be marketing, there's a whole lot of things that is linked to that scalability. And if you're ready to scale, then we definitely can do that, but it's a long conversation, not something I can do in 2 minutes.
Just to add to what he's saying, so CEDA is having what we call incubators, and we've got 64 incubators throughout the country. We've got an ICT incubator in Midrand, which is called Soft Start, and I know they do app development as well. I thought that it would be very important for you to also speak to them, because they could also assist you in terms of, you know, scalability. How do you make sure that you are able to grow your business to where you want it? And yeah, that's it. So Soft Start, it's an incubator within Midrand. It's you can contact them.
Mark the 11th and the 12th, the Tshepo 1 Million stand, live app festival. We can talk about that as well. If you find time here, those that are interested in the space, live app festival, the 11th and the 12th next week. That's another part. Thank you.
Thank you so much, colleagues. We've wrapped up this session now. We're going to hand over to our program director to take us through the program. Let us give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Guys, are we learning? You don't sound like you're learning. You sound tired. Are we learning? Oh, that's wonderful. So up next, can I just find out if Shoma is here? Shoma, are you here? Okay, it doesn't look like Shoma is here. But we are going to have Unontsikelelo, ne? Unontsikelelo is going to come do a poem for us. Can Unontsikelelo come closer? While the panel for access to finance as well gets ready, while she's busy with her poem, just quietly gets ready, so that when she's done, we have that panel ready. Okay, can we give a big round of applause for Unontsikelelo?
Thank you, thank you. Good afternoon. Are we still good? Are we all still good? Can we get an even higher yes? All right. As Umama had already introduced me, my name is Unontsikelelo. I am a poet and spoken word artist. I will not be taking much of your time. I'd just firstly like to thank the organizers for giving us this platform to just commemorate the youth of 1976 and also just identify and recognize that the struggles which they face were so much different from the struggles which we are facing. One of those struggles being the high rate of unemployment, which fortunately platforms such as these are trying to address. So this is a clear indication that we are slowly but surely moving in the right direction. So yes, this poem rather, is titled Saliva Drops. Hope you enjoy it. They basked in the blistering heat of the blazing sun, staring intently at their washing lines filled to the brim with hopes for a better life, one which was rid of rape, human trafficking, molestation, and sexual harassment. They basked under the blistering rate of the blazing sun and recognized that this was more than what they had planned. Their eyes reflected the fear of that woman who walks in the dark streets of Jersey, not fearing the darkness of the night per se, but fearing the man who lingers in the shadows of the darkness. They turned their ears deaf to the sounds of the boy who suffered from depression, danced hardest in the club, drowning his sorrows in booze until the liquid lost its power to numb the pain, so he eventually embraced death. They basked in the blistering heat of the blazing sun, baptizing themselves with an unguaranteed hope for a better life that is yet to come. A better life which has not yet been promised to them, but they basked in the blistering heat of the sun. Although their aura was drenched in a stench of defeat, there was something about the look in their eyes, something about the way they looked into the far distance, picturing so vividly a life which was much better than what they had right now. A life which was rid of tribalism, sexism, and racism. A life which had been rid of all drops of homophobia and xenophobia. A South Africa which was no longer home to poverty and unemployment. They basked in the blistering heat of the blazing sun as they yearned for positive change. They craved so dearly, craved so deeply to walk down the streets of Jersey with crop shops, with short crops and crop shots and bum shorts, with their secret smiles of relief plastered on their faces, screaming louder than any man-made music could ever master, that do not tell me what to wear. Thank you.